Hi everybody, welcome back to my Wednesday video blog. So let's continue the topic of happiness in motion. This is the part 2. Last week I was talking about what in my opinion entitles happiness, what helps us to be happy. So please make sure if you missed to check the last week video. But today I want to talk about another component of happiness, which is how we handle stress. So the model that I'm about to share here with you that I hope gives you some positive insights, it's actually based on this great author and teacher at the Stanford University, Kelly McGonigal. So it's a brand new book, New Researches and Studies on Stress, the Upside of Stress. And there are many very interesting new concepts here in definitions of stress, and it's such a contrast with a book written in 1956 by Selye, and this is kind of the Bible of stress, and this is the book that actually defined that stress is bad for us. And you know why they defined that? In a nutshell, they were doing a lot of studies with rats in the lab. And they're torturing these rats, starving them, torturing them, and of course the response that they had was disease, illness, cancer, and death, of course. So these studies have been debunked a little bit. So you know how much I love talk about stress, because it is one of the more reasons people hire me to help me, even when they just want to exercise to get fit. It's also the reason behind is because they're looking for some stress release, and exercise, as you all know, helps with that, along with nutrition and lifestyle. So the model here talks about the stress responses, that we can have a threat response or a challenge response. And the reason I got excited about talking about this topic is that, I have said many times, and you might have seen this statement, that it's not stress that kills us, it's how we perceive and respond to stress. So what does that really mean, right? How we can make a shift based on how we think, how we can, by the way we think, change the physiological response in our body. How can we affect if our body is going to respond in a way that's going to make us sick, or if our body is going to respond in a way that's going to make us stronger and more resilient? And that's why I want to share this information with you, because I think it's extremely valuable. It can be an everyday practice for you, as it has been for me already, going through a period of a lot of stress actually. So let's review here what a threat response is. So either a threat or a challenge response to stress will always get you ready to act. So the difference here in which one you take is how your body is going to respond biologically. What's going to happen with your blood vessels, with your inflammation levels, with your brain, right? So the threat response, which is not a very positive response. The threat response is healthy if you're running away from a lion or from a pit bull, so you want to survive. But based on a threat response, our body prepares for harm. And most of us are not, I hope not, are running from a lion or a pit bull in the street. The stress we deal every day with, it's financial, it's family, it's relationship, those types of stress, right? So usually the emotions surrounding the threat response are emotions of fear, shame, anger. And when we have those emotions that I call negative emotions, it's very easy to go into a state of mind that make us have this false belief that we can handle, that we don't have enough resources to handle the stress. And that itself put us in this out of control place. And if you have read articles about stress, you know that they say the stress that really get us, that really make us sick, is that stress that we lose control. We don't have control what's happening, right? So kind of the same thing, when you don't know if you can handle, you think you don't have the resources to handle your stress, it's kind of being out of control. And being in this threat response for a long period of time is the type of response that make us sick, make us have serious condition such as cancer and such, or autoimmune disease, or just make us feel like sick or have low energy every single day, right? So that's why I'm all about energy. So I don't want you to be in this state again unless you're running from a pit bull. So biologically, what this state does, it increases inflammation in our bodies. It suppresses our immune system. That's why being in this state gets people to get frequent colds and flus and have headaches, stomach problems such as. And it also kind of clutters our brain. It kind of inhibits our ability to tap into a prefrontal cortex, which is our intelligence, which is our ability to have common sense and to just look at things and, you know, with a bigger picture in mind. So that's the threat response. Now the challenge response is their response similar to what an athlete has right before a competition or race. Is that physical response of, you know, feeling excited, energized, and it comes with anxiety, but that's a positive anxiety here. Like when I'm getting ready to do a presentation, I have the anxiety level, I feel kind of high, and it gives me a lot of energy. So this is the challenge response. You get excited with a project, with buying a house, with, you know, doing something like having kids, whatever that is going to come with some anxiety, but that's positive. And that's another thing that Kelly talks in this book. Anxiety is positive when it's coming from a challenge response, not from fear, right? So you're ready to, in this state, you're ready to engage and to act from your best. When you spend a lot of time in this challenge response, or this is how you handle stress, you increase your performance, your resilience, and also your positive motivation towards the stress. Like you look at stress like, wow, I can handle this. So Kelly says in her book that, you know, actually she interviewed few psychologists, and they state that the most important factor that separates these two responses here is our belief that we have all the resources to handle stress. So I encourage you, if you're dealing with some high stress in your life right now, whatever that is, just stop for a second and know that you have all the resources to handle. And if you think you don't, analyze what you need. You need help from your friends, from your family. You need financial help. So maybe you rely on a loan, on a credit card. I mean, you have all the resources you need to handle the situation. So that's a huge factor that's going to determine you from going from the threat response to the challenge response, when you're going to have a much more positive state of mind and more clarity to deal with whatever you need to deal. So again, this is the biggest message. You have all the resources to handle your stress. So this is part of my happiness emotion blog here today, and I look forward to share more with you next week. Have a great night.